Why we voted for Donald Trump? Because the middle class man finally thought he was going to get ahead in life. You said no taxes on overtime. Big, bold, beautiful letters. We thought, hell yeah, why would we not vote for that? Then you turn around and pass the bill and it's a crock of shit. It's a tax credit for the people that make a certain amount of money. Of course, when you put it in big, bold, beautiful letters, it looks great. We're going to vote for you. And you knew what you were doing. You were baiting people in saying, no taxes on overtime. You didn't give no fucking details. Your details that we read.
The cracks inside the MAGA movement are no longer hidden. What once looked like a united political force is now showing signs of collapse in public.
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you would do what was right and cut waste and fraud and all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America's going to look like if this continues.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran. But I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country. But now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not, the guy out there working in the trenches trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. It goes against everything I expected when, I voted for him.
Across social media, news interviews, and everyday conversations, many former Trump supporters are openly admitting regret. Some say they voted for lower prices, better jobs, and a stronger economy.
Donald Trump's MAGA coalition isn't just buckling, it's literally falling apart in public. It starts but does not end with what's going on in Iran. And yes, while most of the self-professed MAGA crowd have engaged in a month-long game of follow the goalposts, from no new wars to this isn't actually a war to, well, it might be a war, but there aren't any boots on the ground, to whatever the story is that Donald Trump tweets or posts or blurts out, a significant portion of non-MAGA Trump voters are coming to grips with that particular betrayal, among others, like the economy. Just open the newspaper or drive down the street, and here's what you will see. Financial markets and consumer sentiment dropping sharply.
I wasn't just a Trump supporter. I was a true believer. I was one of his closest advisors. I spent Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all at Mar-a-Lago. I saw him when the cameras were off. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him.
How come everybody I know of that went to college is a Biden supporter? Yeah. And I don't understand how everybody is a Biden supporter if you just went to college. So what are they teaching in this college? Are they teaching anything?
Stuff like inclusivity and respecting other people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, woke.
Yeah, wokeness, yeah.
Instead, they claim they got rising bills, uncertainty, and disappointment. One voter admitted they only supported Trump because of promises like no tax on overtime.
You didn't get a wall. You didn't drain the swamp. You didn't get affordable health care. You didn't eliminate the national debt. You didn't get new infrastructure. You didn't get Hillary Clinton locked up. You didn't get Epstein accountability. You didn't get a $5,000 Doge check. You didn't get a $2,000 stimulus check. You didn't get lower grocery prices. You didn't get help buying a home. You didn't get America first. You didn't even get peace. You lost family, friends, and credibility. So what did you gain?
The jokes really do write themselves, because 3 days ago, did I not just say this in my video? Many Americans who voted for the talking orange believe that rules for thee and not for me is how things are going to play out, and it's just not. There are many Americans who are waking up to find out that their lives are going to be impacted by this. Many of them are effing around and finding out the hard way. And now look at the Republicans, effing around and finding out.
They believed it would help working people finally get ahead. But after reading the actual policy details, they felt misled.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump, we love you. We love you. On the way to the White House.
Beyond betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
So I admit, I regret my vote for Donald Trump. I regret it because I needed these changes sooner. I needed the prices to go down sooner so that I didn't drain out my bank accounts and go into crippling credit card debt.
Another supporter said they voted hoping groceries, gas, and housing would become more affordable.
All right, you shady fucker, listen up and listen good. I voted for you because of your no tax on overtime bill, amongst other things. But here's the deal. I just read your great big beautiful bill, and it's bullshit.
As easy as it would be for me to say that I wasn't thinking when I voted or that I don't watch the news, I had to ask myself the same question that hundreds of you are asking me, is why did I vote the way I did? I've spent the last few days reflecting, and I feel like I came through some sort of revelation.
Instead, they watched their savings disappear and debt grow. Even government workers who once trusted Trump are speaking out.
I just need someone to explain something to me. I live in Alabama, and my utility bill usually averages between $200 and $250 a month. Can someone please explain to me how my utility bill went from $250 a month to $696 this month? Could someone just please explain that to me? I know it was cold last month, but $696? Explain!
For others, the breaking point is the economy. People who once blamed inflation and high prices on previous leadership are now asking why their utility bills have doubled and gas prices keep climbing.
Right after the 2024 election, there were huge celebrations from the right. They were so happy that their team had won. Despite everything that we knew about Bone Spurs, about what he said he was going to do, what he had done in the past, and the type of person that he was. Despite knowing all of that, the people who voted for him were elated. They were super happy. And one thing that the people on the left kept telling them is that they hoped that they got every single thing that they voted for. I was certainly one of those people who said that. Anytime somebody came in my comments, and I wasn't a political commentator at the time, but just in my own personal comments on my own personal social media, when anybody came over there boasting, I congratulated them. And I told them that I hope they get every single thing that they voted for. Man, was I not disappointed. Because those approval ratings are tanking. Bone Spurs' approval rating right now is at the lowest that it has ever been in history, at 33 to 36% approval and at 62% disapproval. His disapproval ratings are increasing even among his base by at least an 8-point swing from last year this time. So all of those people who were so happy and celebrating all of the things that Bone Spurs said he was going to do, they said they couldn't wait until Bone Spurs started implementing all of his concepts of a plan. It seems as if many of them are entering the find out stage. Because the excuse was that they were voting for him because eggs were too high, because gas prices were too high, because the economy was crazy, and they had these, of course, crazy numbers like 15% inflation and things like that were not true, but still, they said they were voting for him because of the economy. Now, before y'all get into the comments saying that we know that that wasn't true, yes, we know that that wasn't true. They voted for racism and sexism and homophobia and transphobia and all of that. We do know that that's what they voted for. But I will be holding them to the excuse that they used, because the economy is absolutely tanking. The NASDAQ is in correction territory, going down 10% from where it was in October of 2025. Even Bitcoin is doing terribly. And David Sachs, the White House AI and cryptocurrency czar, has resigned as of March 2026. Now, he did move over to a different position, and he claims that he resigned because his tenure was up in that position, being that he could only stay there for 130 days. So his new position will be to co-chair the Council of Advisors when it comes to science and technology. But since when do they actually care about the rules and the limitations that are set on that administration?
Some small business owners are also angry over tariffs, saying new trade policies are damaging their companies and hurting their families. But the biggest shift may be happening among media figures and influencers who once helped fuel the movement.
Not one person that's leaving MAGA is leaving because they feel they've done something wrong. They're not leaving because they've finally come into alignment with what is righteous, what is good, what is honest. They're not leaving because they are assessing their moral compass and realize how fucked up it is to vote for a racist, pedophile, convicted felon. They are not leaving because they see the ways in which Trump has harmed and is harming people on the margin, right? People who are black and brown, people of the LGBTQIA community, any of that. They are only leaving MAGA because they feel like they were betrayed. They feel like they are the victim. They feel like Trump fucked them over. I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for the Leaving MAGA. I have nothing for them because it's really not about all of society for them. It's not about, taking care of your neighbor or seeing the hurt in somebody else's story, are hoping and wanting all of us to have equity and inclusion and justice in this world. It's not about that for them. It's just that if you fuck me over, if it impacts me, I don't like it anymore. That is the exact mentality that got us here in the first damn place. I don't give a shit about forgiving or sharing space or listening to or understanding anybody now who says they left MAGA.
Podcasters, commentators, and conservative personalities who previously backed Trump are now criticizing him publicly. Some say he has done the exact opposite of what he promised. Others mock the movement they once supported, calling it lost and directionless.
He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that.
It's insane. There's two things that are insane. One is the targeting of migrant workers, not cartel members, not gang members, not drug dealers, just construction workers showing up in construction sites and raiding them. Gardeners.
Donald Trump, looks, and man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one.
She said something about that there was like thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible crimes.
There is. And didn't the FBI dude say that there was nothing?
Kash Patel said there's nothing you're looking for. Oh, okay. Or just bomb Iran. And everybody forgets
Just bomb Iran, yeah.
Everybody forgets about it.
The only party right now that to me seems America first is the Democrat Socialist Party.
Yep.
Bernie is America first.
Psychologists often explain movements like this in stages.
All of the ex-MAGA that are coming out now saying that they renounce Trump and saying it's not a left-right thing, it's an up-down thing, will never align with us because their brains won't let them. So I'm going to explain it to you, but it's going to take a minute. So please stay with me because I promise you it'll be worth it. First, you have to realize that the brain's function is actually not learning. The brain's function is literally to keep us safe. Every organ in our body only has one function. The heart, the one function is to pump blood. Lungs, one function to breathe oxygen. Kidneys, one function to filter toxins. Your brain's one function is to keep you safe. And how does the brain do that? By building neural pathways from things that we have learned and life experiences. And they build those neural pathways, and when you build them, your brain says this is what is safe. So when you have people that have grown up with the conservative, Republican, MAGA ideologies, that your brain builds first one string on that pathway, and then you hear it again, and that second string on the pathway, and then a third and a fourth, until that pathway is so strong that your brain has no other option but to tell you, this is what keeps me safe. Let me give you an example we all know. We are not born knowing how to walk. One day we stand up. That's a new neural pathway that has just been built, but only has one string. So then we fall down, we get back up again. That is two strings on that neural pathway. And that neural pathway gets built so strong and so thick that if I was to ask anybody here to explain to me how not to walk, you wouldn't be able to explain it to me because that neural pathway is so thick and strong. And the only way that neural pathway gets broken of walking is if you have a stroke or an accident and you break that neural pathway and you have to rebuild it string by string. So now all of these people that have said, I now see Trump for who I am, They have now started a new neural pathway, but there's only one string. So what does that do? They revert right back to things like, well, what about gas prices under Biden? Or I'm not going to vote in the next election because I cannot vote for Republicans anymore, but the Democrats are evil, right? That is your brain telling you that this is what is safe, that it is safe to, that's what keeps you safe. So when you literally have to fight your brain in real time. So when you have that, what about gas prices under Biden? You have to stop and say, nope, this is actually about gas prices under Trump. And that's what will give a second string on that neural pathway. And until that neural pathway has more strings than your old neural pathway, your brain will continue to go back to what is safe. But the second there is one more string, one more attachment that puts you over the edge, like if your old neural pathway has 100 strings and you now have fought your brain literally 101 times, it's like a switch, boom. Your brain goes, wait, this is what keeps me safe. And we cannot align with these people until they literally do the work themselves. Because what they're going to do is they're just going to revert back to whatever makes them safe. And most likely, we all know it's going to be J.D. Vance and the Republican Party. So until they do the work themselves, we cannot align with them. The only thing we can do is literally walk away. That's the only thing that is within our control. And this is not being mean to MAGA, not giving them a safe place to land because they have one string on a new neural pathway. This is literally science.
First, the casual supporters leave quietly. These are the people who like the excitement, the rallies, and feeling like they were on the winning side. Once that feeling fades, they move on without admitting they were ever involved. Second come the true believers. These people invested their identity into the movement. Leaving is harder because it means admitting they were wrong. But when policies begin hurting them personally, even loyal supporters start questioning everything. Last are the fanatics. They are the loudest and most committed, but also the smallest group. History shows that even when movements lose power, a core group often refuses to let go. They become more extreme as everyone else walks away. What we are seeing now may be the beginning of that final split. Rising costs, broken promises, internal fighting, and public regret are creating pressure from every direction. For many voters, loyalty lasted only until it touched their wallet, their job, or their family. The real question is no longer whether the movement is weakening. The question is, how much support will remain when the anger, slogans, and promises can no longer hide reality? Because once people feel personally betrayed, winning them back becomes much harder than winning them in the first place.